everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. And today we're delving into back into the world of Steven Spielberg. This time we're doing Indiana Jones, which is actually just called Raiders of the Lost Ark.
The first film is Raiders of the Lost Ark, yeah.
All right, so who was involved in the making?
Well, clearly, directed by Steven Spielberg. This is a George Lucas production.
Lucasfilm made it.
Lucasfilm, yeah. Written by long-term partner Lawrence Kasdan.
Yeah.
Starring Harrison Ford, Karen Allen, and a man named Paul Freeman. Came out, I believe, June of 1981. Made for around $20 million, and it made around $390 million at the box office. So a moderate success.
So Ford was between the last two original trilogy Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So he was just like starting a new franchise.
He's like, well, I mean, I got nothing better to do. Might as well.
Might as well. I think I'd mentioned previously, as far as Indiana Jones go, I had seen this one. I've seen bits and pieces of the second and third one, just as they were on TV. And I know I've seen the Kingdom of the Crystal, or Crystal Skull, whatever it's called.
I'm so sorry.
All the way through. But I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan. I don't sit down and rewatch these a lot. This is kind of a franchise. I'm not a big treasure hunt, action-adventure type movie fan.
Not the swashbuckling action-adventure type?
Yeah, so this is just not a subgenre that appeals to me, so I don't watch it a lot. But yeah, so I guess I'm relatively fresh when it comes to Indiana Jones.
That's fair. I've seen these movies multiple times. I grew up watching these. I guess like I said with Back to the Future, I think most people are, they're a product of their environment. What they grew up with are the things that they enjoy a lot. I grew up watching these, so I enjoyed the first three at least. We'll talk about that fourth one here in a few weeks.
Yeah, I remember it was a little rough around the edges, but anyway.
But it's a good time. I enjoy all of them.
Yeah, watching this one this time, it's a fun. I mean, it's obviously it's like the classic action adventure story. It's got Harrison Ford playing his stereotypical character. Playing Harrison Ford, and he's
a professor at a prestigious university somewhere, I believe, in the New England area, if I'm not mistaken. Sure.
He's an archaeologist.
On the side, yeah, and a world-renowned treasure hunter.
There's a scene where he and the bad guy sit down, and the bad guy's like, he does the typical, there's what's different between me and you or whatever. And I'm almost sitting there like, what is different? Because they're both taking ancient artifacts out of their homes and relocating them. So is he really,
Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones wants to take them and, put them in a museum and use them for, not evil purposes. Balak is working with the Nazis and he wants to use it to conquer the world. So...
Okay.
That's why he's evil.
Okay. Well, anyway, but no, I think this movie's a lot of fun. I think it's paced really well. You never go too long without an action sequence. The acting is fun and good. Harrison Ford. His
Karen Allen plays a decent. She's mostly damsel in distress for the majority of the movie.
Yeah, she
gets her scenes a couple times where she gets a couple licks in on people or is wielding some sort of weapon. I just want to say
that no one, especially like a woman of her stature, is going to be able to do 10 shots of whiskey and be standing up, much less act sober like she does at the beginning of this film.
Yeah.
But that aside, she's good. She kind of, I mentioned to Dylan, she kind of reminds me of Margot Kidder.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But looks and the way she acts.
Just the way she carries herself, and she sounds
kind
like
of
Margot
similar.
Kidder, at least in the way the sound was done in this movie. Speaking of sound, there's a lot of recycled Star Wars.
I would imagine
sound effects.
Sounds like a Lucasfilm sound or Skywalker sound or whatever had a good time. They were like, it's an easy day at the office. We'll just use that.
Yeah, and speaking of Industrial Light and Magic, they actually I think did a really good job on the effects in this movie.
Their visual effects are really good. There's a lot of practical effects in this film that are obviously where we like practical effects. If you can pull something off with a practical effect.
And then even at the end when they open the thing and it the ghosts come out or whatever, and the lasers are going
looks
everywhere.
good.
It looks good. I think it looks really good. I love the melting effect on the skin of the Nazis.
It's cheesy, but I like it.
I think it actually looks really good.
It's cheesy looking back now. You look back now at it, and I'm like, It's
Yeah.
funny at the same time because they
Which-
literally melt like clay.
Yeah. But speaking of which, I think violence. I mean, this is a lot more violent than I
This
remember.
movie was rated PG when it came out back in '81.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a family adventure film.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can imagine like a Jumanji or something nowadays, which is kind of what I would equate this to.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, being anywhere near this violent.
Yeah, no, I
nowadays.
mean, there's some decent blood
a
splatter
lot
a
of blood in
few
this movie.
times. Nazis' heads blowing
Yeah,
up.
people melting.
People
I mean,
melting.
it's-
People getting the power of God thrust through their chest and dying.
In that first scene, there's a lot of dead mummified corpses,
a lot of
rotten
corpses. Yeah.
And then that opening scene, we see people with like spikes shoved through their bodies and stuff,
Yeah.
and it looks pretty realistic. They did a good job on the
did a good
effects.
job.
So, yeah, definitely today they'd be pushing. I mean, they'd be pushing the upper limits of PG-13.
It's PG-13
probably today.
for sure nowadays. I mean, the first two were rated PG. I know that Last Crusade and then King of the Crystal Skull were rated PG-13. I guess they were like,
Well, yeah, I don't remember when the PG-13 it came in mid-'80s when they first started.
the first PG-13 rating I think was in
like
1984.
Critters 3
I
or
think,
something,
like,
wasn't
I don't know, but I think the PG-13 rating from the MPAA started in '84, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so. But no, yeah, I was kind of shocked at that.
I don't know. It's a fun movie though.
Yeah, I think it's a fun movie. You know, John Williams definitely helps it out. Now, I did
Some of his score is very reminiscent of Star Wars.
watching it
obviously.
this time. I definitely heard a lot of Star Wars in it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you got the classic main Indiana Jones theme, which is great, and
The
makes you-
love theme is very similar to the love theme
Han and
from
Leia, love theme. Empire.
From Empire.
Definitely, I definitely got. There's a couple times where like it's just a couple notes off, like Star Wars
You're like,
music.
ooh.
He just barely adjusts it. Which I mean, you know, any composer, I think if you listen to their whole body of work a lot, you're gonna
They
notice
end up,
they recycle a
recycling
lot.
stuff.
I mean,
so
but you know, that is what it is.
happens.
But no, you know, there is. I mean, it's not a movie that you got to think real hard about.
No.
Not a lot of. I mean, there is some contrivances. I mean, not a lot of great plotting going on. I think it's kind of convenient that Indiana Jones just kind of stumbles into what's her face's tent at one point in the movie.
Yeah.
That she's being held in, and it's just kind of like they never like even suggest that how she would have switched baskets. I know maybe they did, and I just didn't catch it, but. How they messed up the baskets that she got blown up in the truck or whatever, and I don't know. There's some plot contrivances here and there that you just kind of got.
I think with this kind of movie, you just kind of ignore them because it's overall just a fun time.
The most important thing.
It's a good classic, like I said, swashbuckling treasure hunt adventure type thing.
The most important thing with this kind of movie are you entertaining? Are you keeping the pace up? It's a long movie. It's almost 2 hours long.
It's right about 2 hours.
For these kind of movies, I usually say like keep it at around 100 minutes. This one, I mean, it could probably. I mean, I guess in the 80s, probably people thought about these things a little bit differently. I mean, you could probably edit this down a little bit, and it would flow just as well, not better. But I mean, not. Like I said, the pacing's really good.
The pacing is really good. I mean, there's decent action sprinkled throughout. I mean, there's probably a good decent action scene every 20 or so minutes.
Probably not even that, but yeah. And it's directed by Steven Spielberg. Watching it this time, I think the cinematography is really good in this movie.
Yeah,
There's
it's
some
done really
classic
well.
shots and all that. And there's I think there is some green screen and rear projection work done in this movie, but it all looks really good. It wasn't. It was
scenes with
distracting.
cars falling off, or like the scene with the fire going around them at the end of the movie. That's a green screen effect. It's the cloud effects, like in the scene where they're digging and stuff like that. Obviously, those are some
It's
sort
like
of
oil. They're matted on. They're like oil effects, and they matted on it, which
Yeah.
they did. I think they did that in Close Encounters.
Yeah, Close Encounters looks really good.
I think it looks better than it did in Closing, which of course
It's
is
a couple years after.
a few years after Close Encounters, but but as a whole, even though I'm not a big fan of this type of movie, I definitely enjoyed myself. So
It's a fun time. I enjoyed it a lot.
you ready for buy it, stream it, skip it?
I'm gonna say buy it.
All right, obviously.
I have it. It's right there.
And you got the big fancy steelbook
Big
edition.
fancy steelbook edition, kind of like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
It was a good deal.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, like we've said, it's just a fun time. I enjoy it a lot. I've always enjoyed it. I mean, I grew up watching these movies, so I'm always gonna have a fun time with him. Harrison Ford is at his A game here, top of his career. He's on Star Wars, riding Indiana Jones. I mean, he's height of his career right here. And he's really entertaining to watch in this movie. He pulls off the charismatic persona of this character very well, as well as Han Solo. So
Yeah, definitely.
I enjoyed it a lot. I like the other girl, I can't remember what I said her name was, with Karen Allen or something like that.
Yeah, Karen Allen.
She's pretty good. I think she does good for what she's asked for. And then all the effects work is done really well in this movie. I'm impressed for 1981. I think, ILM, kudos to y'all.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, it's a fun, entertaining movie. I've always liked it, so buy it.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to eke this one over to buy. I mean, still not my favorite type of movie. I'm still not going to sit and watch Indiana Jones every year, probably.
No.
It's not a movie that is, it's again, kind of like Back to the Future, like we talked about. It's not one that I grew up with personally watching over and over, so it's not one that I just fell in love with as a kid. And it's not one that I love now, but it's a good movie. It's a really well-made movie. It's one of Spielberg's classics, obviously. I don't think it's his best work, but
It's up there.
It's up there, and he does a really great job of keeping this an exciting and fun adventure movie. And I think it's definitely worth buying and watching several times throughout your lifetime. So, yeah, that's the first film. We'll see what I say about the sequels.
The next one is interesting. It's a little bit different than this movie. It kind of goes in a slightly different direction.
It's Sean Connery's in the third one.
Sean Connery's in the third one. But the next two are good, in my opinion, to preview my thoughts. And then the fourth one, we'll talk about it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Other than that, if Mulan still is coming out, that's the plan. We saw just now that Tenet and Wonder Woman are getting pushed back. Tenet's only getting pushed back 2 weeks to the 31st.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad as long as theaters still decide to open and we don't decide to, shut everything down again.
Yeah.
We'll be back in theaters within about 3 or 4 more weeks, so
I'm really hoping Mulan sticks to that July 24th.
That'd be nice.
I've actually been wanting, for once, these stupid Disney remakes that I hate. I've been kind of interested to see this Mulan one.
I'm interested to see what they can do with it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be,
It's not going to be the Lion King where they just straight up shot for shot remake and CG'd it.
But it could be interesting. We'll find out here in a couple weeks, hopefully.
Yeah.
Other than that, we do have a podcast if Aaron wants to tell you about it.
Yeah, that's right. We do another podcast called Stomp This Way, where we review a different giant monster movie every week. So definitely check us out over there. We're on all major pod hosting services.
Yeah, if you want to, you can follow us on our social medias. We're up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We're still DNA Film Wars and all those, so make sure you give us a like or follow, and be sure to tell your friends about us.
That's right, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video, and we'll see you next time.
Catch you later.